This is Laurel Burch. She's an American artist who started in her teens in the 70s making handmade jewelry by pounding metal against a pan to create these beautiful shapes. Later in life, she taught herself how to paint. She loved colors and shapes, and she is best known for her cats. Laurel was born with a bone disease that caused her bones to break easy like toothpicks, but she did not let that stop her from creating. She used color to lift people up and to make people happy. If you look at these cats, this is what we're creating today. She has lots of colors and shapes and more of a whimsical than a realistic painting. So you can tell what the images are, but they look like dogs and cats, but they have more of a cartoon or a imagination feeling to them. And that's what we're doing today, and that's who inspired the art that we're creating today. So I'm going to start with showing you the supplies that you need for this art project. This waxy paper is to go on your desk if you need it to protect your desk surface. And we're going to reuse these every time, so try to fold them up and put them back if they're not too messy after this. So we'll need our paper, and in our bags the projects are paper clipped together. So the project we're doing today is paper clipped with one sheet of watercolor paper on one side and a piece of black paper on the other side, and that is what we're going to mount our cats on with our glue after we're done. You'll need your cup for water, and these we're also going to reuse. So when you're done with your project, you want to rinse it out real good and dry it. We'll need our watercolor paints. The paintbrush is inside of there. We'll need our oil pastels, the glue stick for the very end, and you will need from your desk scissors to cut out your cat, a pencil and eraser, and a paper towel. So when we've got all of our stuff, let's get started. So here is an example of what we're going to do today. This is a student's from last year, and this is the one that I did this year. As you can see in the pictures, the head is about, this is about half, so the head is pretty big. So if that's half our paper, we're going to start with the head when we draw, and I want to make sure you've got enough space. You can face your cat this way, or you can put the head and then face the body the other way. But if you imagine your paper in half, and then I think my head should have been a little bit bigger. So that's where you want to start, is kind of in one of the corners, just above the center line. So for that, you will need your piece of watercolor paper and a pencil. Now, I want you to write your name on this, kind of in the bottom corner before we start, so we know whose it is. And if we put it down there, if you really mess up and you want to flip it over and start over, we'll cut that part off anyway. So that's a good space to write it down there. So I'm going to start here. So our first step is we're going to make a big kind of a really circular W for the cheeks of the cat. So this is what we're making right here. We're going to make this kind of W, okay? So here's the middle of my page. I'm going to take, this is the tip of my ear. I don't want to draw too hard in case I need to erase. So I'm going to make kind of a W, like that. And that, as you can see, is the cheeks of the cat. And next step, I'm going to make her ears. So I'm going to leave some space in the middle, but I'm going to make these tips of the W's into the triangle there. And that's going to be the cat's ears. And I don't like that one. I'm going to make that one a little bit wider. So it's good to not draw too, just kind of lightly draw with your pencil. So you can see my line still. So if you draw light with your pencil, then if you need to erase, you can. So once you have both of your ears for your cat, now we're going to make her or his forehead. So we're going to connect the two ears like that, just a line between the two tips. And now you have kind of just the face of the cat. Now next we're going to come down to this point at the middle of the W, and we're going to make a V. And this is going to be the tip of the cat's nose, like right there. And after you make your little V, we're going to make lines that go up to make the rest of the nose. Like that. Let's see, this is the one I did earlier. And the nose goes up there. All right, next step is we're going to do the top of the eyes. So we're going to come from the tip of the nose here, and we're going to make an arc up and down, like an eye shape, right? So take this, and we're going to go up and down. Got a little bump in there. So I'm going to make the top of the eye. Okay, so both sides of the eye there. All right, and now we're going to finish the eye. So we're going to do the bottom. I'm going to go down and around, kind of like a gentle curve, and come down and around to make the rest of the eye. So you can make your eyes really big, like these. Mine are about medium. My last ones I did, I thought were a little bit small. You can make them whatever size you want. And the nice thing is you can erase them and make them a little bigger or smaller. Just very lightly draw with your pencil. Now we're going to make the eye, the colored part of the eye. So we're just gonna do little arches there. And then a eyeball, right? Okay, so arch, arch, eyeball. Okay, there we go. So mine was kind of small, and yours is really hard to do an eyeball, so I think bigger is a little easier to draw. And then we're going to do his chin. Just going to take another small, nice arch and connect the cheeks to make the kind of his chin. And once you've got your chin, I kind of put mine close to my paper here. I wish I would have slid it over just a little bit, because I need to add some whiskers, but that's okay. So I'm going to add some whiskers, like that. Just 3 or 4 little lines there. Whiskers on your cat. Okay, now I've got the ears, the eyes, the nose, the mouth. Now we're going to do the body. So the body is just kind of very simple, just kind of a rounded back and straight legs, and then we will connect them at the bottom. You can do your tail like this. You can do your tail like that, or I'm going to do a swirly tail, and I'll show you how to do that. So just above the whisker, you're going to start with the body, and it's going to go almost all the way to the ground. So we're going to go just kind of another gradual curve all the way almost to the bottom. Okay, and then from this cheek, we're just going to come straight down to make his legs. And then this, I'm going to make a curvy tail. where the tail twists like that, and like a swirl. And then I'm going to swirl it back, follow the same path to his body. And if you don't want to go all the way there, you can stop it here so it looks like it just ended. So it's still attached to his body there. And then if you want to do the legs, if you want to do the tail curvy like this, you just make it just like an S. Almost looks like a worm or an S. So just come up and then curve it back down. This one they went a little far closer to the feet, so they came around and then kind of swirled up and then made the top of the tail and swirled back down to the body. And you can make this a little longer if you want or shorter if you want. And once you've got your tail the way you want it, we're going to come and do the legs. I'm going to stop about right there. So about halfway up the body is where you'll stop for your one leg. And then we'll just put a line between those two to make the second leg. And we'll just leave this space here. On mine, I connected that space, but you can also leave space to separate the legs. This one, they left a little space to separate the legs. And you can also have your legs touching the tail, kind of like they did here. Or you can just leave some space, and when we cut it out, that will be, so this is the cat cut out, and this is the blue background that it was mounted on. And then once you've got your cat shape, and you like the way it looks, then you're ready to paint.